The luxury alien transport ship Silken Starliner moved smoothly through one of the safest galaxy routes. It was a high-class diplomatic vessel, made of bright silver plates and shining blue lights. Inside, the air smelled fresh. The floors were polished, and the passengers were from the most powerful species in the galaxy. 7 alien species were present, each with long histories, sharp minds, and cold hearts. They were going to the Galactic Peace Summit, where war plans would become trade deals and enemies would shake hands. Or, so they hoped. In the middle of all this was a young alien named Tahar. He was from a peaceful planet known for art and logic. He was chosen as a youth representative, excited but nervous. This was his first time leaving his homeworld. He had read all the rules, packed perfectly, and arrived early. But when he got his seat number, he froze. Seat Z7, back row. The others around him grew silent. A few looked away. One elder whispered to another in a low voice. Even the ship's automatic. Assistant paused before confirming his seat. Tahar walked toward the end of the cabin. The back row looked different. The seats were old, metal instead of the smooth, soft chairs in the front. The armrests had scratches, some deep like claw marks. On the wall behind the seats, he noticed strange symbols. He leaned closer. Some of the markings were in languages he didn't know, but one line caught his attention. He had studied old languages, just for fun, and this line was in Earth English, one of the oldest banned languages in the galaxy. They waited here. When Eli Cha, others ran. When others begged. Tahar blinked. His skin changed color slightly. His people showed emotion through their skin. He turned to a passing steward, a tall insectoid alien in a green uniform. "Excuse me, why does no one sit in this row?" Tahar asked. The steward stopped walking. His many legs stiffened. His voice changed from friendly to low and slow. "No one uses that row," he said. "It is not for comfort. It is not for rest. That row, it's a warning." Tahar looked confused. "A warning of what?" The steward's eyes flashed. "Of them. The ones you never met. The ones we forced into. The dark humans." Tahar had heard the name. From books, from whispers, from warning signs in schools. A species too violent, too emotional. A species banished centuries ago by the Galactic Council. The official story said they were extinct. But now, sitting in this strange seat, he wasn't so sure. They waited there. The steward continued, almost in a whisper. They knew what was coming. No one listened. Before Tahar could ask more, the ship's lights flickered. Just once. Then, again. The air grew colder. The humming sound of the engine changed. The steward froze. Other passengers turned their heads. Small alarm lights blinked silently along the walls. "Ship AI activating long-range scan," a voice said. It was the calm tone of the ship's central intelligence. Then, a strange thing happened. The voice changed. A second voice, older, broken, and speaking in a language that only a few in the galaxy still remembered, echoed through the cabin. "Back. Row defense mode activating." Tahar's heart skipped a beat. That was English. The lights turned red. Emergency shields powered up, but only partially. Half the ship's systems began shutting down. The stars outside the window started moving unnaturally. Passengers began to panic. "Emergency! Something is exiting hyperspace!" shouted the main officer on the bridge. "It's massive!" Tahar stood up. He saw it too. Outside the window, a dark ship was emerging. Not flying, but ripping through space like a blade through paper. The ship had no lights, no symbols, no colors, just shadow and size. So much size. It covered a third of the stars behind it. People screamed. Diplomats ran. Some tried to contact their homeworlds, but the comms were already dead. Only the back row was silent. Tahar looked at the walls again. The symbols were glowing now. The scratches were moving, changing, like they were alive. The seat under him felt different. It was no longer just metal. It was shifting, like it was preparing for something. Suddenly, the same old voice came. Again. "Judgment begins where memory sits." And all at once, Tahar understood. The back row wasn't just old. It wasn't just strange. It was human-made. Or maybe left behind. The humans weren't gone. They had waited. And now they were back. The red emergency lights blinked across the transport ship. Fear filled the air like smoke. Even the strongest diplomats from warlike species looked helpless. The massive black ship outside grew clearer through the windows. It didn't fly. Like normal ships, it floated like a shadow with purpose. Inside, people shouted over each other. "The shields are down. Why can't we jump to hyperspace? This is a diplomatic vessel. We're unarmed." But no one had answers. Tahar stayed in the back row. His legs were shaking, but he didn't move. Something deep inside him whispered, "Don't run. Stay seated." This row was made for this moment. The seat hummed. Then it moved. Tahar gasped as the chair folded into itself, locking him gently but tightly in place. Metal guards wrapped around his legs and chest, not to trap him, but to protect him. He heard a soft click under the floor. A panel opened beside him, revealing a small glowing sphere. It floated upward and scanned his face. "Back row identity detected," the ship's voice said, again in old, dusty Earth English. "Non-human. Protocol 9A. Observer role activated." A hologram flashed in front of him. It showed the black ship and something even more terrifying. Inside that ship, something was waking up. Tahar watched in horror. Giant figures, humanoid, in shape but made of burnt armor and metal veins, began to move. Their faces were hidden by broken helmets, but their bodies looked human, strong, tall, and heavy. "Hostile detected," said the ship AI. "Origin, Terran warship. Designation, Penance-class hunter. Warning, all diplomatic protocols void. Prepare for historical weapon activation." The seat under Tahar sank slowly, lowering him into a small hidden chamber under the floor. He saw no controls, no weapons, just a long, dark tunnel. A glowing light at the far end began to brighten. Then came the sound. Boom, boom, boom. Footsteps, heavy, metallic, and getting closer. Up in the main deck, chaos exploded. One of the alien commanders shouted, "We need to launch the escape pods." "There are no pods left," another replied. "The system says they were remotely ejected, automatically." "By who?" The answer came from the speakers. "By back row protocol." No one knew what that meant, but one elder alien, a lizard-like being with 6 eyes, spoke softly. The humans left something behind. A final warning, a final weapon. It was never for us. It was for them. Who are they? The elder turned to the window. The ones who made the humans disappear. The ones who feared what humans could become. He pointed at the black ship, their back. Tahar walked slowly down the tunnel. The walls were dark, but symbols glowed on every surface. He touched one and felt a memory, not his, but from the past. Screams, explosions, a voice. "We can't win, but we can wait. And when they come again, they'll find us ready." Tahar came to the end of the tunnel. Before him stood a massive black chair, half machine, half bone. It looked ancient, but alive. "Seat yourself," said the old voice. He hesitated. "I'm not human. You are now the witness. The defense chooses you." He sat. The moment he did, hundreds of images flashed in front of him. Wars, galaxies, old Earth cities, the last human council, and then darkness. A message began to play. "To whoever finds this, welcome. You sit where they sat. You carry their memory, and now their weapon." Suddenly, the silken starliner shook violently. Outside, the black enemy ship had released a strange swarm, metallic insects with laser wings. They cut through the outer hull like it was paper. One diplomat was pulled into space screaming. Another was melted by energy bolts. But then, the back row spoke. The seats lifted out of the floor. The entire rear of the ship transformed, changing into something human-made. A turret opened, then another. Long silver barrels turned toward the enemy ship. Inside his new command seat, Tahar saw targeting displays. Back row defense systems, online. Authorization, granted. He didn't understand the controls, but his hands moved anyway. As if the system wanted him to succeed. He pressed one button. The first shot was like a small sun exploding. The enemy swarm vaporized. The second shot tore through the side of the black ship. For the first time, it bled. Inside the ship, the humanoid. Machines turned, not in fear, but in interest. One of them, taller than the rest, whispered, "So, a child now guards their seat? Let's see if he deserves it." The battle was far from over. But now the humans were speaking again, through a voice they never expected. Tahar's fingers trembled above the control panel. He had never seen a weapon before today, never touched anything built for war. But now he sat inside a human-made defense seat, deep in the back row of a ship meant for peace. Outside, the black enemy ship floated like a scar across the stars. One of its sides was burning from the back row's first shot, but the damage did not slow it down. Instead, the ship grew quiet, cold, focused, and then it spoke back. Human fire detected. Pattern, penance protocol. Response, overriding diplomacy. Begin purge sequence. From the enemy ship, 6 long black arms unfolded, like insect legs stretching from a corpse. Glowing blue orbs sat at the tips. Charging. "Those are world killers," whispered an elder diplomat. "Why would they use them now? They see the back row as a threat again," said the lizard being. "They remember the humans. They fear them still." Tahar saw it all from the display in front of him. The ship's AI showed him the charging time of each enemy weapon. 70 seconds to total destruction, said the calm human voice. He looked down. His hands gripped the armrests tightly. "What do I do?" The AI responded. "You do what they did. You wake it up." "What?" The seat beneath him opened again, lifting a second control panel. This one pulsed red, like a heart. It had a small, round keyhole. Next to it was a case made of glass. Inside lay a strange metallic object. It looked like a tooth, but not from any creature he knew. "Activate human final echo protocol," the AI asked. Tahar hesitated. He remembered the old stories about how humans disappeared, not killed in war, but erased by the same black ships now outside. People said the humans didn't just fight, they made monsters to fight for them, not out of hate, but out of fear that one day the galaxy would forget what evil really looked like. This was that day. He broke the glass, took the object, and placed it into the keyhole. It melted inside with a hiss. The back row rumbled. The floor beneath Tahar shifted. New walls rose up, covered in wires and bones. Not human bones. Bigger, older. Lights turned blood red. Outside, the enemy ship fired. But instead of hitting the Starliner, the energy bent, twisted, vanished into thin space. "Back row shielding," the AI said. Powered by forgotten science, Tahar couldn't breathe. Then, he heard it, a sound like thunder. But it was coming, from inside the ship. Behind the last row, something moved. A huge wall opened slowly, revealing a hidden chamber, deep and dark. Fog spilled out, and from that fog, a giant metal body stepped forward. It was humanoid, but its armor was fused with black stone and human bone. It had no eyes, only a faceplate marked with 3 red scars. On its chest were the last words ever spoken by a human general. "We don't start wars, but we always finish them." The passengers screamed. Some begged Tahar to stop. "Don't wake it. Don't use it. You don't know what it is." But the AI answered for him. "Unit 9A Last Hope. Online. Awaiting combat permission from back row witness." The machine turned its head toward Tahar. It knelt before him, steam hissing from its joints. Even in sleep, it had been waiting for a human command. Tahar stood up, barely able to breathe. "I give permission." The giant rose. Outside, the black ship's weapons fired again. The giant raised one hand. The energy blast stopped mid-space, shook violently, and turned back, reversing into the weapon that fired it. The enemy ship screamed. Yes, screamed, its walls twisted. Its dark shape began to fall apart like broken glass. But something else came with the scream. A presence. An old one. A shadow. Bigger than the ship itself. The AI whispered, "Oh no, we broke the seal." They weren't just hiding. They were guarding something. Tahar watched as the stars behind the black ship bent. Time twisted. Light vanished. A second ship, 10 times bigger, appeared from the dark. But this was no ordinary ship. It was a tomb, and something inside was waking. Titu. AI said only one thing. Tahar, they didn't just wait in the back row to protect others. They waited to stop this. Everything outside the ship turned dark, like space itself was afraid. Tahar stood frozen behind the control panel in the back row. The passengers were screaming, holding each other, some praying in their own alien languages. But no one could look away from what had just appeared. A ship, so huge that it blocked half the stars. Its surface looked like black stone, cracked and pulsing with red lines. It had no windows, no lights. It didn't move like a normal ship. It drifted like a corpse in deep space, but even from this distance everyone felt it breathing. "What is that?" whispered the snake diplomat. The AI's voice was low, almost shaking. "That is the last thing humans sealed away." The tomb ship, the human war machine standing beside Tahar, raised its arm again. It was ready to fire, but this time the AI interrupted. "Negative. Do not engage. This is not an enemy. It is a prison." Tahar blinked. "A prison? For what?" No one answered. Outside, the black enemy ship, the one that had attacked them, was now completely silent. No weapons, no shields. It just floated, like it had turned into a piece of broken metal, and then, without warning, it moved toward the tomb ship, like something was pulling it. Everyone watched in horror as the black ship was pulled into an open crack in the tomb ship's side. There was no sound, no explosion, just gone. The crack closed again. "What just happened?" one of the passengers asked. The AI finally spoke. "It consumed the threat. That is its purpose." The humans knew. Some enemies cannot be destroyed. They can only be locked away. Tahar felt cold all over. "So why is it waking up now?" "Because you woke up the back row," the AI said, "and the back row is connected to it." Suddenly, the back row lights turned dark red. The human war machine stepped forward and placed its giant hand on the floor. From beneath the ship, a beam of red light shot into space, connecting to the tomb ship. Something answered. The tomb ship's surface opened, just slightly, and light patterns began to form. Giant circles, written in both human code and something far older. "What is that language?" asked Tahar. "It is pre-extinction Earth protocol," said the AI. "It means final recall activated." Everyone went silent. The alien diplomats stared at each other. "What is final recall?" the bird being asked. The lizard one whispered, "It means the humans might come back." At the center of the tomb ship, a massive chamber opened. Inside, floating in cryo-sleep, were figures. Thousands of them, humanoid armored, silent. The ship zoomed in on one, a human female. Muscular, scarred. Her body showed signs of old battles, but her face looked calm. She wore a suit with the human symbol of unity. Earth, Mars, and Titan together. "Last generation of humanity," the AI whispered. "They were never gone, only hidden, frozen." Tahar stared, his mouth open. "Why would they do this? Why fake extinction?" "Because they knew the galaxy wasn't ready for them," the AI said. "They won wars no one understood. They created weapons the Council feared. So they made a deal. Go extinct, or go into the dark and sleep." Suddenly the tomb ship spoke. Not in sound, but in thought. Everyone felt it in their heads. "Your time has failed. You let the shadows return. You broke the seal. Therefore, we return." One of the passengers fell to their knees. "We didn't know. Please don't bring war again." But the AI shook its head. "They're not coming for war. They're coming to finish what they started. The war machine beside Tahar turned toward him. Its voice had changed. You are witness, child of stars. You carry the truth now. Tell them, the humans never left. They just waited. In the back row, suddenly from the tomb ship, 3 beams of white light shot toward the transport ship, not as a weapon, but like a signal. The AI spoke. You are marked now, a ship of witness, a vessel of memory. Then, silence. The tomb ship closed again. Its surface returned to stillness. The cryo-humans disappeared back into the dark. It didn't vanish. It simply drifted backward, into a field of stars, and stopped. Sleeping again. Waiting. Inside the ship, everyone was quiet. No one spoke for several minutes. Then the steward walked slowly to the back row. He bowed to Tahar and said, You did what none of us dared. You sat where the truth lives. Tahar didn't feel like a hero. He just felt awake. The AI spoke one last time. Prepare for contact. The seal has been broken. Humanity is coming back. The transport ship floated silently near the ancient tomb ship. No one dared to move. No one spoke. Even the diplomats, used to talking through wars and disasters, were completely silent. They had seen something no one was supposed to see. The humans were not extinct. They had been waiting, inside a ship made of stone and fear. Sleeping, watching, preparing. Tahar sat in the back row, still trying to understand everything. The human war machine beside him had stopped moving. Its glowing eyes were now dark. The defense mode had ended, but the message was clear. The seal is broken. Humanity is coming back. Suddenly the ship's communication panel lit up, a new signal, but it wasn't from the Galactic Council. It was from the tomb ship. A voice spoke. Calm, deep, human. We are the last of Earth, the final guardians. You woke us too early, but we understand why. The enemy has returned, the one we warned you about, the one you refused to see. We ask only one question. Do you want our help, or do you want us gone again? The diplomats stared at each other, the snake being hissed. This is a trap. They want control again. No, whispered the bird being. This is a test. The AI of the ship spoke again. Your ship has been marked as witness. That means this choice is yours to make. Everyone turned to Tahar. He was just a student, a teenager. He didn't understand war or politics. But he had seen the humans wake up. He had sat in their seat. He had felt their presence, not full of rage, but of sadness and strength. They didn't attack us, he said slowly. They saved us, twice. One diplomat shook his head. They are too dangerous. They create weapons too powerful. They don't follow council rules. Tahar stood up. Maybe that's what we need right now. The ship's screen changed. A live image appeared. Across the galaxy, the same tomb beacons were waking up. Giant, silent structures buried on moons, hidden in asteroid belts, locked inside ancient planets, each one glowing, each one sending the same message. The final war is near. Will you fight alone? Or will you stand with those who never gave up? The galaxy had always feared humans because they refused to accept limits. They kept fighting even when no hope was left. Now that same power was offering help. Tahar took a deep breath. He stepped forward and spoke clearly to the screen. We accept your help. Silence. Then the tomb ship responded. Witness confirmed. Activation approved. Far above, light poured from the cracks. In the tomb ship. It wasn't red now, but white and gold, pure, calm, like hope. The cryo chambers opened. Figures stepped out. Not thousands, just 12. 12 humans, each one different, some tall, some scarred, some young, some old. But all wore the same symbol. Unity of Earth, Mars, Titan. They didn't come with weapons drawn. They came with hands open. One of the, humans, a woman with silver hair and one robotic arm, spoke. We remember what the galaxy did to us, the fear, the exile. But we remember something else too. We were meant to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. She looked directly into the camera. So we asked the galaxy, not for power, not for control, but for permission, to do what we were built for. The Galactic Council sent a reply. Not an answer, but a threat. Return to your grave, humans. This galaxy doesn't want your kind. Tahar stared at the message. The diplomats whispered nervously. That's it, one said. They'll disappear again. But they were wrong. The humans didn't leave. They smiled. The woman with the silver hair looked at Tahar and said, "We don't need permission to do what's right." In the days that followed, reports spread across the stars. Human ships, once thought destroyed, reappeared near dying colonies. They rescued miners trapped under alien attacks. They stopped ancient weapons from being reactivated. They reconnected planets that hadn't spoken in years. They didn't conquer. They didn't rule. They protected, just like they promised. Back on the luxury transport ship, the back row was no longer empty. The metal had changed. It was smooth, clean. Glowing slightly, a plaque had appeared on the wall. Here sat the first to believe, the first to remember, the first to call them back. Tahar smiled, tears in his eyes. For the first time in galactic history, the truth was known. The back row wasn't safety. It was a warning, a signal, a promise. And now humanity had returned, not to destroy the galaxy, but to protect it.